Welcome to the Vote.je question time, and I'm joined by the St Martin Connétable candidate, Karen Shentonstone. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for hosting this.
It's an absolute pleasure. And for everybody at home, there is a Q&A box on your Zoom screen, so please do get your questions in for Karen. Obviously, the rules that have been throughout this have been that we will give each candidate 1 minute to give their answer, and we will be strict with that even though there's only one candidate. And we've asked for people to be fair in their questioning and to ask questions that any candidate could answer, basically, in all the way. So please get your questions in now. Obviously, if there's going to be some parish questions, we will see. I'm going to start off though by asking you, this time round we've got the ballot papers with none of the above. That's an option first time round, but of course there's more changes than that. There's the deputies have changed, the boundaries have changed. Are you kind of happy? Are you supportive of the way the electoral polling has changed, or would you like to see a return to the island-wide mandate? And it's been on the doorsteps a lot.
I'm not 100% supportive of what's changes, but I have to put my hands up and say that I'm actually responsible for none of the above. So I'm actually responsible for the fact that I'm sitting here and not sitting at home as a constable-elect. And I thought that was really, really important for democracy, because it's very difficult to get candidates to stand for Connétable. The last time I stood 4 years ago, I thought there were 3 of us standing, and that on the nomination night there was only me. And it's actually enlivened a lot of the constables who are opposing none of the above to get out, and we've delivered our manifestos. People have been going door to door when they can, and just generally really engaging with the public as we should. And we can then face our detractors who say that we've actually got into the assembly without any votes, but we actually will hopefully be voted for. And if none of the above beats us, then we shouldn't actually be in the assembly. So we'll just slip away quietly.
Thank you. Okay, so and to following on from that, really, I mean, you say that we've been getting manifestos out. How will you make yourself available to parishioners and represent parishioners if you were to be re-elected?
Well, I'm somebody who's, as my electorate, I had my in-person hustings last week, and as one of the parishioners said, I'm always available. So I'm sort of available 24/7, really. So I'm always, if I'm not in the States or in a States meeting, I'm in the public hall. And I do respond really quickly to parishioners' concerns, and I do actually work. It's not just parochially, I do actually help people from other parishes. So I do more or less the same job in the States as a deputy would do. And then I have all my parish duties as well, which I'm more than happy to fulfil. And we've got a great community spirit in St Martin, and parishes are so vital to the democracy of Jersey, because I don't think people realise just how much the municipality does, you know, how much talent there is in all the unpaid honorary roles.
Thank you. So you touched there on talking about sort of how much parishes do and the Connétable role. Are you in agreement that constables might also have roles within government, or do you think they should just purely focus on the parish?
I think it depends very much on the individual, and that's probably, some people say that's a get out, but it's very much different people have different personalities, different traits. I think some of the constables did a very good job as assistant ministers in the last assembly. I know the previous assembly, a constable was a minister, and I think fulfilled the role really, really well. So I'm actually open to it. It depends really how hard you want to work. If you're willing to put the hours in, and you're capable, yes, I think you can go across the assembly. For myself, I'm not particularly looking for a ministerial role, although there's been some soundings asking me. I put my cards on the table, so I'd like to chair PPC, privileges and procedures, and actually have another look at how we evolve from here with the elections. And it's become blatantly obvious at my hustings.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's a short time.
Yeah.
So people at home, you're watching this, now is your opportunity to get your questions into Karen, who is standing as the St Martin Connétable candidate. And yeah, it's a tough 1 minute, sorry, which is what we've been doing with everybody. Now, Jenny has asked, because obviously you're up for re-election,
Yes.
You're hoping to be re-elected. What do you feel have been your greatest achievements so far in your previous terms as Connétable?
I think that the community spirit that we have in the parish is exceptional. And for example, we held 2 huge community events for the Jubilee, and a small team of us fed, I think it was 500 people between an afternoon tea with china and everything, and a barbecue in the evening. I've also got on and done a lot of building work, so we've had 20 first-time buyer homes were built during the pandemic, and they were opened in November 2020. The old depot, which had been left to rack and ruin, I refurbished that, got the village tea room refurbished, have got a planning application through for a playground. And in the States, I brought forward, I think it was 5 successful propositions, and 3 of those were unanimous. So one single person can do a lot in the States.
Thank you. Okay. And you touched there, you talked about community, and are you happy that there's enough facilities for the community within the parish, or do you feel that there are any areas of the parish, any age groups that are underserviced?
I think, well, on my manifesto, we have this beautiful barn, the rectory barn. So I've raised £83,000 through charitable donation to have surveys done and architect's drawings drawn up so that we could have a state-of-the-art community centre. Well, I'm hoping to raise funds not through parish rates, but through independent funding, so we don't touch on the ratepayers, because our public hall is always in use for community events, and this would really enhance the parish and the island. It could be used for the island. We've just got the playground through. I've secured 2 very generous donors, farmers who have the next field to us, have given us land for a wetland area to extend the village green. And we're also hoping to extend a pathway from the village green to Mowfall to keep people off the roads.
Thank you. Okay. Roads are always an issue. I know it's an island-wide problem. It's not just a St Martin or St Clement or whatever parish problem, and that's speeding and congestion on roads. Again, are you happy with the situation on your roads, or would you like to see more done?
I would like to see more done, and I actually brought the proposition which has been colloquially named as Freddie's Law, and that's for the road safety and this hierarchy of users on the roads. So that was a successful proposition, and I managed to get everybody on board for that. And the parish we've been promised from IHE that we're having a road survey for the whole parish. It was meant to start in June 2020, but I think with the elections and everything else, it will be starting hopefully by September. And we'll look at every parish road and look at the speed limits, and we collect data the whole time from parishioners who say that they would like lower speeds, or where there's dangerous areas. And I actually have got an amazing roads committee and the honorary police, so we're always very active with road safety.
Okay, thank you. So just still time to get your questions in to Karen, who is St Martin Connétable candidate. Agriculture, we know that there's a lot of farmers who are struggling with rising costs and problems with staffing, all sorts of things. Within your parish, do you feel you can do anything more to support farmers, or do you feel you can do anything that you can push it in the States as well?
Yes, I'm exceptionally supportive of the farmers, because when you think about it, the Jersey cow is iconic to the island, and if you ask anybody what Jersey means, most of the time you'll see a Jersey cow. I went to an amazing event that was held for candidates last Thursday morning, And we started at the dairy, then we went to the RJA, and then we went to see the herds at Trinity Farm. And I fulfilled a lifelong ambition and milked a cow. But that aside, I'm incredibly supportive of the farmers, and they've released their strategy about three months ago. And I've spoken to some of them, and I've said anything I can do to help, and I would be prepared to bring forward a proposition, because without farming in the island, I think we'd be completely lost. Really, we really need to support the industry. Because we can't lose the Jersey Dairy, we can't lose the Jersey Royal. What would we have?
Yeah, no potatoes and no milk. That's what we'd have. So, of course, where it becomes a problem is the issue of housing. We all know that housing is a huge problem within Jersey, and that we have young people leaving the island because of expensive housing. How do you see the balance between protecting greenfields and creating more houses for people, affordable housing?
Well, it's an absolute crisis. The Parish of St Martin is trying really hard to do its bit, and as I said, we had 20 first-time buyer homes built during the pandemic, which 20 families moved into in November 2020. And they are shared equity, so that seems to be working really well. And during the island plan, we've secured 2 other fields. One is for first-time buyers, and the other field is to extend our sheltered housing, because we have a really long list. So we've got them at each end of the scale. So we've got the young people, and then we've got older people who really want to downsize. So we have a lot of people in quite dire straits, actually, who really need to move into sheltered housing in the parish. So we can extend that, then obviously their houses will free up. So people could right size, and some of them are on our list are at Mofor, so they make ideal family homes.
Okay, thank you. And one of the other huge issues, which is obviously not just a Jersey issue, but is cost of living, and a lot of people are worried about the coming winter with fuel prices, etc., and the just rising costs full stop across the board. Is there anything that you think that at the parish level you can do to help alleviate that, or is it just a states issue?
Well, it's a massive global problem, actually, and in the parish we did set up a really successful food bank, which we would really want to reinvigorate, and we were very fortunate to have the food from Marks and Spencer, and we'd collect it 3 times a week, and it was volunteers through the Methodist Hall who would give out food, and the youth work would also come in and donate it to families. It's a considerable amount of food 3 times a week. Unfortunately, through red tape, it's been closed down by environmental health, and we don't have this. So we're looking to find space where we could actually, they want us to have huge chest freezers, but as everybody knows, the public halls, parish halls, are very old buildings. They're not very big. They're not, where would we put them? So we're actively looking at that, because there are people in dire straits in all the parishes, not just in the more built up parishes.
No, definitely. And would one of the questions that's often been asked of various candidates throughout this campaign is, would you support taking GST off food?
Yes, I probably would. That's a short answer, actually.
Okay, the short answer is fine, short but sweet. And still time, if you're watching at home, to get your questions in to Karen, who is St Martin Connétable candidate. The other question that's being asked quite a bit is talking about raising the minimum wage to a living wage. Where do you kind of stand on that issue?
I think everybody deserves to live, not just survive. I think you have to be able to live, and so raising it to the living wage is very good. My caveat for that is, obviously, having spoken to the farmers a lot, who look after, despite, I think, people saying to the country, they look after their staff incredibly well, and then you have to factor in the fact that they get housing and other support. So I'm very, very much for the living wage, but I think there's certain sectors where you have to really look at it carefully, and we're saying that we need to save the farming industry. I think if you if you introduced it across the board, that'd be quite dangerous. I am totally for it, but I do think there's a couple of sectors where you really have to look at it carefully.
Okay, thank you. Now, one of the other big worldwide problems, global problems, is the environment, of course, and the climate change. Do you think that in St Martin you're doing enough with recycling, or do you think you should be doing more?
We voted it through, and recycling in the parish was supposed to start in March this year. It's now been pushed back to September because of the tubs that everyone's meant to be using. There seems to be a global shortage in those, so it's not come from the parish. It's because of what's happening globally that we've got that problem. We're doing a lot with cycling. I was really pleased that the Island Games the Commonwealth Games baton came to St Martin's Green on Saturday, and they chose us as a cycling parish. So we have, which I was really proud about. We're going to try and do more with. We've got the most green lanes of any parish in the island, and we link up with Trinity, who finally said that they will have some green lanes, I believe, and St Saviour, who will. And we've got a wetland area coming, which is really good for the environment, and that's one of my pledges. And I'm working with the school, and I'm working with the parish climate liaison group.
Thank you. And what do you feel about the government targets? Do you think that they're overly ambitious for carbon emissions, or do you think that we should be doing more in Jersey as a whole? What's your views on that?
Oh, they are incredibly ambitious. But I think if there's a will, there's a way. We can't, all the time you're saying these floods and fires, and, we can't close our eyes. We can't just say, oh, it's not really happening. We can do a lot. I think it would be good to have a lot more to do with renewable energy. We're an island, we're surrounded by sea. We've got wind power. I just think we need to harness a lot more and be a lot more imaginative in how we do it. And there must be some amazing solutions out there, and I'm sure we could do it.
Okay, thank you. Well, just I'm going to ask one final question to you. You've already had term in office, etc. But if you were to be re-elected, what would you like to think about in 4 years' time? So say we fast forward 4 years, what would you like to be looking back on as being your legacy of the last 4 years, or the coming 4 years, let's say?
I'd like to leave the parish in a really good shape. I'd like to have the community centre built for the parish and for the whole island. I'd like the wetlands area finished, the playground finished. I'd like the path to mow for. I'd like the cycling lanes. I'd like to see more environmental action, and I'd like to see that my proposition about safety, women's safety, had been really successful, and women felt much safer here. I'd like to see more, diversity. I'd like the environment and what I'm trying to achieve in the parish, and I'd like to see a more cohesive states. I'd like more of them to get on with each other.
Always helps. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody watching at home. That's St Martin Connétable candidate Karen Shentonstone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And if you're thinking about voting, it's not long now, just a week to go. And you can also pre-poll in St Helier at St Paul's Centre. You can go along there if you want to vote early, if you need to vote early for the Gulf Island, for example, and you haven't registered for postal voting. But of course, you can find out all the information on vote.je, so just go online there. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you, Karen, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.